Today I'm joined by Carlo, a huge inspiration to many over in Italy, in Bologna especially, getting some major results and also having a stint over in England in Dagenham as well. I welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much, Jamie, for inviting me. It's a big pleasure to meet you and to join your show tonight.
Absolutely, and something that sticks out to me already is the amount of languages that you speak. So you you already speak so many languages, and that's going to help you when we talk about your career and your ambitions later down the line. But start off with your spell in Italy. What was it like to play football there?
You know, for me, is a passion since I was a child because my dad was passionate about football, and it passed me this faith. I call faith because for me, football is that, and that's the reason why, as I said to you when you contact me, I love English football because you English people, you live football as a faith, and that's the same for me. But Italy has a big culture too about football. So yes, basically that's it. I love football, and I started playing when I was 5 and 6 years old.
And what got you into that then? Was it just the kids playing on the street? Was it your parents telling you to go and play football?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think my dad was the first to bring me playing football, yes, down the streets. And obviously, then when I had the age to go playing football for a team, I just started, and then I had some quality. And when I was 10, I was picked up from Bologna F.C. Academy, and I played in the Bologna Football Club Academy until the Primavera, that is the under 18, under 19 squad in Italy.
That's quite a major club. Bologna FC is a team on FIFA, so I'm sure a lot of people would understand who they are as a club. They're quite a major team that competes in Italy year in, year out. To get scouted by them from the age of around 10 years old, that must have been a huge leap in your career already.
Yeah, definitely. It was an honor for me to represent the team of the city where I live, because I was not born in Bologna, because I was born in Turin, but I moved to Bologna for my dad jobs when I was 6. So Bologna. I'm from Bologna. I'm quite from. I'm adopted, but I'm from Bologna. And yes, basically it was a big honor for me, and obviously is it was important for building up my also my skills. And when you have when at this age you have the chance to train with the people that have been selected around the a big area like Bologna does. It's important because you can train at a high level every day, and yes, basically it was an important step of my life.
Was that the first step in this footballing journey, or was there a few teams before that you've got to tell us about?
Yeah, I played in a small team of my city called Virtus. And yes, then I was a striker. So basically, I had one of my best quality was to score goals. So after scoring many goals in at this young age, I was picked up from Virtus to Bologna, and then I started my trip with Bologna.
From yourself and your point of view, but also the parents' point of view, with so much experience of the generation of football, but also just life in general, when you talk to them now, do they expect you to become a professional footballer?
Um, No, not really. Like my dad, my parents in general, they always push me to try to do my best, but with no pressure. It was my choice to play football. It was my passion, and so it was my dream that I build every day at the training ground, and try to achieve it. But there was no pressure behind me.
Growing up in Italy, it must have been a change from Turin to Bologna itself, but also, what's it like to grow up in Italy as a kid?
Jamie, Italy is a weird place. We have a lot of big things, and at the same time, we have a few problems. But I love my country, and I'm happy to be Italian, and yes, I'm happy to have the chance to grow up in Italy.
I want to talk about your whole career, but just really quickly before we deep dive into everything. So you then came to England after this stint over in
Yes.
Bologna, and you played for
Y-
Dagenham and Redbridge FC, a
Yeah.
team that I know very well.
Okay. Yeah. It's always a pleasure to remember that time. Last year I played in the Academy of Bologna. I was not finding a lot of space because they were playing with me. There were footballers that were better than me. And one of them is Masina, that also played in Premier League for Watford, and another one is Alex Ferrari, who played for Sampdoria now, and so players that effectively then they became pro, also in the first team. So I hadn't a lot of space, and my agent, talking with my agent, I had the chance at half of the season, to go to Dagenham to make a trial. So basically, I went to London 1 week, and I had one week trial. At the end of the week, we had at the club, the Dagenham Redbridge, they organized a friendly match against Crystal Palace, and I scored twice. So basically, at that point, they made a decision about me, and they decided to sign me at the end of the season, because so I just came back to Bologna, finished the season, and then I finally came to England.
So when you were in the youth academy in Bologna, you may have not known any different, obviously, because you weren't at any previous major academies. But from your experience of leaving Bologna to come to England, there must have been a transitional period, which we'll talk about in a moment. But when
Yeah,
you see it as a coach, what's the treatment like of youth players? Is it positive or can it be negative at times?
what the change, you mean the change from Italy to England?
Yeah, well, also that, but also what's it like to not yourself personally, but there's also a lot of things in the news that come up maybe where the youth players don't get treated too well. And I always go back to a Manchester City player who killed himself a few years ago.
Yeah, obviously when you play at that level, you also have pressure, and when you are young, you always want to play. So basically you can but in football, 11 starts, so, and there are the squad is composed by from 20 players, more or less, and sometimes you don't play, and but that's football. I think that to follow this kind of life about football, you have to be strong mentally. If not, it can destroy you. That's true. But for myself, it's always been a pleasure to play football, even in the bad periods, when I don't play. It was tough. Obviously, it was tough. I don't want to say differently, but I always never give up. Also, now that I don't play football anymore and I'm a coach, I wanna try to convince the players that sometimes you can play, sometimes you cannot play, but you always have to be focused, to train well, to be fit, and to try to achieve your goals, even if there are some problems in the way,
What sort of problems from a player's perspective, but also a coach's perspective, can you come across on a daily occurrence?
Like for me as a coach, is very important, the mental aspect, because if you are not ready to perform, if you are not ready to fight when you're in the pitch, and also off the pitch, because football is not only what happens inside the pitch, but you have to be stronger, because it's not an individual sport, so you have to live with other people. You have to learn how to stay in a group, and that's I think that is very, very important.
So then, what was the transition like from Italy to Italy to England?
Yeah, it was tough because I think that, for example, I want to start saying this. I think that if uh, someone as a player has the chance that I had 11 12 years ago I had, it's different because now the football is more global, so basically the kind of training is quite the same. When I came to England, there were big difference, not only on the cultural point of view, but also about trainings, sessions. There were a lot different, so it was really tough for me because in Italy the football was more tactical, was more on technique, and in England it was the opposite. We didn't work a lot on tactics, but it was you had to be really, really fit. We worked a lot in the gym, and I was not used, and it was weird because I came from a Syria academy, and I came to Dagenham Redbridge, that at the time was on League Two. So basically it was a big change at the beginning, but then I get used to, and it was okay. I had a like beautiful remember the on my time passed to in Dagenham and in London in general, also for life, because it was very important for me also to learn the language. And as I said to you, when you contact me, it get the chance to come to Dagenham gave me the chance to grow up as a man.
When you learn another language abroad, and this goes for footballers, but also people just in general, it's difficult to learn a language, but maybe you learned a language before, because I know you speak other languages, French as well included. Is it harder to learn a language in your own country, or is it easier to go to that country like you did and learn the language?
Well, I think is hard in general because it's different, and sometimes also the people, when you go in a group, for example, like in football, they don't have time to let you understand what they are saying. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So they don't think about you if you are understanding, and so you have to be fast, and you have to improve the language as soon as you can, because if not, you cannot stay in the group, or you cannot grow up also as a player, because I think that you have to know the language where you are, because it's a step that is so important to try to adapt in a group, and also to improve your performance, because you can understand what the coach want, what the other players want, and so it's basically so important.
So then you decided to leave Dagenham and Redbridge after 1 year,
Yeah.
at a very young age. So how old were you, and what did you do when you returned to Italy?
When I returned to Italy, I had few offers to start playing in the first teams in Italy, in Serie D, in the fourth tier, where I work now as a coach. But I was thinking about my life, and I was thinking about everything, and I said, no, I don't want to play football anymore. I know that I cannot reach the highest level, and I feel that I want to do something different, and obviously always in football. So I just decided to become a coach.
That ended extremely early, your footballing career. You started coaching at the age of 21. However,
Yeah.
you said that you gave up on probably a dream to become a footballer. I mean, you've had, a long, long time playing football in academies and having the ideas of maybe what you wanted to do in a player role. However, a lot of players have the mentality that they would like to be the next Messi, Ronaldo, of course. That's who everyone would like to be. But for a lot of people, that doesn't happen. And I'm looking when I see people playing football, and they could be the best player they've ever seen. But the likelihood is they're not going to become a footballer. The likelihood is 1% of academy players make it into the professional game.
Yeah.
But why did you decide to give up? Why couldn't you have continued that? And do you regret it when you look back at it?
Yeah, I regret a little bit because sometimes I watch games, also because I'm an assistant coach and I'm also video analyst. So I watch a lot of football, and sometimes I see the level and I say, I could play. I could have played. I could still have played, but I think that the at the end the decision was right, because yes, I could enjoy a little bit of football as a player more, but I think that now I'm doing a good job as a coach, and I think that I have more opportunities as a coach to become a pro, and to try to reach my dream, because I think that um, when you are in football, and you grow up as a professional like me, in Bologna and in Dagenham, you want to reach the highest level you can. Okay, basically, and that's the reason why I gave up, because I thought that I couldn't reach the level I was looking for, and so I said, okay, as a coach, because I since I was a child, I thought that at the end of my career I wanted to become a coach. As a coach, I can um, arrive at that level. For me, yes. If I start now, I have a lot of times to make experience, to learn, and to reach that level. So that's the reason, the most important reason why I decided to quit football as a player.
Well, to be quite honest, you ended up becoming a coach at the age of 21, and you already got noticed for some excellent results. You were coach of under 11s teams, under 12, under 14, under 17s, and then the first team, and then now an assistant manager. So the first job or the first role that you had as a head coach, it was an under 11s team. The
Yep.
transition from playing to coaching, what was that like?
It was, I didn't feel it, sincerely. It was, it wasn't weird for me. It was like natural. I think that the first, I remember like it was yesterday, the first training session I made as a coach, and I just said at the end, "Wow, that's my thing." I just wanted to keep going, and to reach my dreams, and that's the reason why. In the last years, I always make a step forward, and to arrive to the first team. So I started from coaching the under 11, and every year try to make a step forward.
When you say excellent results, is there a example of what you may have done?
Yeah, I won. My team, not me. My team won a league in when I was at Osteria Grande, and when I was in Gran Amica coaching the under 17, we won the league, and it was fantastic, because when you fight for something from the start of the season, and you reach it and you achieve, it's amazing, and then when you do it in the academy, it's fantastic because you can see players that are growing up day by day, and yes, it will be forever in my heart, those moments.
What was it like then to go from Italy in Bologna to a very warm place to come to England in Dagenham, where I know the weather is nowhere near as good as what Italy may have been, to then go back to Italy for players? What's that like?
No, it was okay for me because I'm in love with England, so I get used to the weather without problems, and then to come back was the same of always, because Italy never changed. I always say it, so it was not a problem to get back to Italy, and also to go to England for the weather.
Because a lot of English teams have a lot of games postponed. Maybe it may be the professional game that they get postponed because the pitches are so waterlogged and drenched in water. For Italy, is there any sort of situation where it's too hot to play or even too cold?
No, no, no. It's more often it's possible that it is postponed because of the pitch, but not a lot for really for the weather, for the rain. Is because compared to England, we have a big problem in Italy, also in the lower leagues, that we don't have good pitches, like you have in England. Like, for example, I've been in a lot of places in England, and you can find beautiful grounds in the 7 or 8 tire. In Italy, if you start seeing good pitches in the third league, that's a problem. So sometimes it could happen that match can be postponed for the weather. Obviously, it doesn't rain like in England, but but yes, we have other kind of problems.
You've managed 4 teams of under 18s. So that was 11, 12, 14, and under 17s. And the memories that you must have created here over the lifespan must have been great. Some amazing achievements from 2014 to 2022. But why was that an option? Were these academy teams that you were looking to push them on, or were they just grassroots teams?
There were grassroots, like I don't know how to say, like in Italy, um, we have 2 different leagues. The professional teams that play with the professional teams, and under the Serie C, that is not professional anymore, is Serie D, semi-pro, and then is amateur leagues. Every teams play in the same league, and it's divided by area. So basically, I coach the teams around the area of Bologna, and in the region of Emilia-Romagna, and we were playing against other teams of the same region. So that's how it works.
But
And
you start,
obviously, they were academy from teams from Serie D to lower leagues.
you started off with under 11s, and then, as I said, under 12s, under 40s, then under 17s, and now you're coaching the men's team. Why have you decided to go up? Why have you decided to not stick with the under 17s, for example?
You know, I think that sometimes I was trying to win, always trying to win, and always trying to obtain something from my team to grow up myself. And I think that it's not good when you work with academies, you know. So basically, right at that point when I coached the under 17, I said, okay, I'm not doing the best for my for my young players, but I'm doing the best for me, and that's not good. And I was lucky that at the end of the season, with the under 17 of Granamica, I was called by the sporting director of Progresso, that is a semi-pro team that plays in Serie D, and they were looking for an assistant manager. So they asked me he asked me if I wanted to join Progresso and the project, and I said yes. Now it's the time. I don't want to stay in the academies, because I know that I'm not doing something good for them, but only just for me, and to show off me, you know. And that's I don't think that is the goal in when you work in the academies. When you work in the academy, the goal must be to grow up the players, to give them the chance to grow up as players. And the I think the most important goal is for when you work with the academies that are not professional, is, for example, that one of your players has the chance to become pro, you know, and to be scouted from Bologna, for example. Okay, so basically, when I had the chance to go with the first team, I said, okay, now it's the moment. I want to be in a first team, because I can stay where you can fight for the result, and this is the main goal, you know.
What was the project? Because you only stayed there for about a year. So what was the
Yeah,
project, and why did you decide to leave after that?
you know, it was not it was a fantastic, really fantastic season for me, because I had the chance to work with two managers, because the first manager I worked with was sacked, and then I stayed, and then came another manager with who I have a big relationship also now, because and he's really good at coaching. He also coaching in Serie B in Italy. His name is Marcello Chezzi. And so basically I had this chance to stay with him, and I improved a lot. The only thing that was not good is that at the end of the season we got relegated, and so I decided to leave, because when I reached the Serie D, I don't wanted to make a step back, you know, and to go in a lower league. I just wanted to stay in the league, because, as I said to you before, now in my career, I don't want to. I always want to go up, you know. I don't want to come back where I was. So that's the reason why I left.
Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou said a few days ago that the step in quality from, he was comparing it to England, so from League Two to the Premier League has absolutely hardly any difference. So he's basically saying that a player from Stevenage could do a job at Tottenham. It's basically what he was trying to say. However, he said the difference that separates these players is their mentality and the attitudes on and off the pitch. In Italy, is that the same, or is there different ways of
No, I
thinking?
don't. Yeah, yes, I agree, but not totally, because obviously the mentality is different. Because if you play in Premier League and not in League Two, it's obviously because you have something in your mind that is stronger, you know. But that's not the only point. I think obviously, like, I can see sometimes I always watch like Serie A, Serie B, and Serie C, and compared to Serie D, for example, you can see that it's different pace from the players. It's physically they are different. Like they are in the top league, they are they are stronger, and they are more fit. So I think they are that the big difference is mentally, but also physically.
But you can improve those elements, right? You can improve the physical side, and you can also improve the mental side.
Yes, but I think sometimes you have to be. In Italy, we say kissed by nature. Okay, so basically, sometimes is how you are, is how you are physical from the birth. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
No, I completely understand. I completely
Okay,
understand what you're saying. So,
so that's it.
yeah.
Obviously, obviously you can improve, but sometimes you can improve not as much as you need to reach the top level.
In this transition, though, from a player to coach, as we're going to talk about, you are still doing some amazing stuff in Serie D, and I'm sure the ambition would to be to push on even higher Serie C, Serie B, or Serie A, of course, but even maybe abroad, a Dagenham Bridge return. You never ever know. However, you said that when you were a player, you saw the game differently. You saw the technical, and you're always wondering why you chose a drill over this, or you're always seeing it different, and possibly from a coach's point of view at a very young age.
Yeah, definitely. It was, as I said to you before, I always knew that one day I would have been a coach. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but yes, when I was a player, I always tried to look at how the coach was speaking, why he was saying something, and why he was saying something in a certain moment, why he was doing a tactic, why he was doing an exercise, a drill. I was also always asking directly to the coach why, and I think that's one of the reason I decided to become a coach, because I was interested in this even before starting.
So, how do you describe yourself as a coach? Because the coaches that you've played under at various teams, so there may have been an overlap. So, you've mentioned that the coaches say something and you'd be asking, why did you say that? There may have been an overlap that a coach would always want you to do this no matter where you went. Has that built on you? Have you changed
I
as
think,
them or similar to them?
like obviously, um, I learned a lot because I had the chance, when I was in Bologna Academy, to work with very very good coaches for the academy. So I took the best. I'm trying, to take the best from all of them, and then obviously I think that you have to have something that comes from you, obviously. But yes, I think I can describe myself as as a balanced. I try always not to be so happy when things are going good, and not to be a pessimist when things are not going well.
When you say you're balanced, but in situations sometimes the natural side of someone might take over. So you might not have the balanced side of the game. You might go full out screaming and shouting because that's just how you feel in the
Yes,
moment.
obviously, it is part of the role, but I think you always has to be focused on what you're doing, because sometimes if you scream a lot, if you lose concentration, so you're not focused anymore. It's not that you don't have to scream or to say something, and open up your voice when it's the time. But I don't like coaches that are doing that in every single moment, because you don't need to do it. There's time for everything. Sometimes you have to be calm, sometimes you have to open up your voice, to be it's the communication. It's there are also some studies about that. And if you want to make a player understand what you want, it's not that you have to scream every time. Sometimes you just have to be clear, and to make him understand what you want, but just speaking normally.
I played the game Football Manager, and I'm sure a lot of people do. It's a great
I
game,
I
and
do I do
of course,
I do play.
is it. Well, firstly, is it a real insight into a manager's role?
Yeah, it's obviously it's different playing Football Manager than the reality, but I think it could be a sort of instrument that you can use also in the real life, because sometimes you can, for example, discover new players from Football Manager, and then there are big stories about that. The Reims football coach in Ligue 1
Yes, I
and
know. Will Still.
in France. Yeah, so he said he was playing Football Manager all the time, and then he became a manager in a top league. So if that if that is if it's important to play Football Manager to become a pro, I'm on the list.
So I guess winning the World Cup with Germany is a great start for me then in my managerial career. So dealing with the dressing room, okay. So going back to Football Manager, sometimes I do get things a bit wrong. So sometimes I might say the wrong thing, and it might upset the dressing room, and it might make them happy in a certain situation, but it also might make them really unhappy. And you have to deal with certain players if the club can't afford a new contract, but you can't get it towards them. They get a bit angry, and maybe your job's on a bit of a thin rope. However, dealing with a dressing room is something that I've always talking to people about. And I've spoken to players in the past who said they've seen fights in the dressing room. They've seen all sorts of things. In Italy, is that normal to have a fight in the dressing room? Is it normal to have scraps?
It's not normal to have a fight, but it's something that could happen. Obviously, I always think that if you put 20 men in a small place, sometimes could happen. Because you cannot you could not agree with something. You can have an argument, and it could happen. I think that when you're a coach and you know that something like this is happening in the locker room, in the dressing room, you have to do something, obviously. Also, if you are in a dressing room where people are there and they are pro or semi-pro, like the level I coach, you have fines, for example, and you have to do something. You cannot, because like, I think to reach the goal for a team, the group is important. So you cannot leave this kind of situation without saying nothing.
I got told actually that fines in a football team can actually be quite a motivation. It can bring the team together at certain times. So I think that was a Premier League manager. I think it was Sean Dyche, now obviously at Everton, where he spun the wheel every time if someone had an own goal or someone was late to training or even the small things. And he spun the wheel, and you could get a really big fine. You could get something really silly and something a bit more playful. Could that improve a dressing room's atmosphere, even though it's quite a
Yeah,
negative thing to have?
like it depends, but it's. I don't like it, but I don't like when you have to make fines to players. But sometimes is the only thing you can do, because when you took money from a player, it doesn't like it, so basically, if he do something wrong and then he must pay. I think that mostly one never do it again.
You've got to teach them the lesson.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's a player at Watford, Imran Louza, a Moroccan international, and actually I really like him as a player. I think he's a really gifted and talented player. However, apparently he's got a really poor attitude, and I only found this out the other day. I'm a big fan of him, and apparently he's going to be leaving to go back to France because of his poor mentality and his poor attitude. And the adjustment from him joining from France originally to coming to England has obviously made him, a different player, if you like, maybe a different attitude, maybe a different way of living. Can that affect a player? Maybe not at the level that is in Serie D, because there's not a lot of foreign transfers coming in and out, but maybe at the high levels in Italy. Is there a bit of a stint in growth when you see players coming from abroad?
It depends. It depends on the level of the player, obviously. I think. Sometimes when you come from another country, you always have um, like the lights on you, because you come from abroad, and people are, okay, let's see what he can do. But it not always is a good thing for the player. So it depends on the players, how is it technically and mentally, I think.
In a lot of Premier League teams who have the budget to be able to hire out wellness coaches mentally for players, because it's not just now about how well they can be. They can score 10 goals a season, but they have depression, or they have a major or even minor concern with their health mentally or physically. They have players and people around them that can help them and support them, whether it be family, coaches, friends. But the clubs do hire out these specialists. Is this something that people need to become more aware of? Do people need to see more mental health being spoken about in football?
I think that it's a good thing. It's like working on himself. Um Obviously, it depends. I think that, like, make an example. I'm a sporting director. I have to build up a technical staff. It's not the first role I'm looking for, obviously. But if I have a budget that can permit me to find someone to cover this role, it could be something interesting, because I think that obviously sometimes you have pressure, and if there is someone that helps you to find a way to go out from bad periods, it's something that is good.
So in 2023, 2022 to 2023, you joined as an assistant coach in Serie D. I think it's Cincinnati, if I'm not wrong.
Canicati, Canicati,
Oh, well, I'm not even going to try and pronounce
Canicati.
that.
No problem, no problem, not a problem.
However, the assistant managerial role continued, and you stayed in Serie D. For what reason? You've gone around a few clubs in Serie D now.
It was like it was interesting, because it was my first it was my first experience outside home, because Canicati is in Sicily, so he's in the deep south of Italy. And it was a great experience, because I don't know if you know it, but the more south you go in Italy, the more supporters are at the stadiums. So it's fantastic, because it was the first time I was coaching in a club that has supporters, and I could learn also this, because sometimes you think it's easy, but when the team, or when you are a coach, you only play for the club, it's okay. But when you have the pressure from an entire city and an entire group of supporters, it's different. You feel a different pressure. For example, sometimes if you win, it's okay. If you go out, sometimes if you don't win, it's better not to go out. And it's also a big thing, I think, for the players, because they start to live as professional. Because if one day we me as a coach, or the players will have the chance to go in big clubs, that's the football life in Italy. Then in England it's completely different, because you live it's in a different way, football. But in Italy, like, I don't know if you know it, but like, if you're a football player, you play for Napoli, even if you win, you cannot go out, because you cannot move, like, if you are a player, or if you are the coach, because the people won't let you go out from a restaurant, or from everywhere you are. And that's the point. So it was a very nice experience, also for the weather, because in Sicily is always good weather. But yes, it was a really, really nice experience to go to the south. We played against Catania in front of 16,000 people, and it was my first appearance as a coach, an assistant manager in a big stadium, like in a the atmosphere was like a Serie A games. So it was. I think that experience will forever be in my heart.
I've been to Sicily before when I was younger, and it was a very nice place, very nice little island. So a Liverpool life is what I'm going to call it, actually. So Kylian Mbappe said a few days ago that he would like to have the experience of going to the bakery and buying bread. That's how crazy it can be for some people. They can't even do the basic things to go shopping. And he said, I'd pay any money to be normal, to be a normal person. So maybe that's something that we take for granted. So for someone of his level, maybe it'd be Osherman at Napoli, like you may have mentioned, is it an unhealthy life to be living? You have all the money behind you and you're a footballer, but you can't even go and buy a bit of bread.
Yeah, I think, but that it's part of the game. When if you decide to do this life, you know that if you reach the highest level, uh, that's one of the things that could happen. So, as I said, when you start, you know the rules of the game, and you decided if you want to play it or not. I think that's it. It's like, obviously I understand what he's saying, but I always say you are lucky for many other things. So basically that's my point of view on that.
So now you left that team that I'm not going to try and pronounce in 2023, and you've now joined this new team that again looks very difficult to pronounce, but I'm going to try. Vast. Oh, no,
Yeah. Try it.
okay, Vast or
Vastogirardi.
Vastogirardi in
Yeah,
Serie D, and you've joined them as an assistant role and an assistant coaching role. How many
yeah.
coaches do you work alongside?
There's the manager, me, the strength and conditioning coach, and the goalkeeper coach. We are
And
four, basically.
so you guys have to work together in a small group to be able to provide the best results. And
Yeah.
with your team, again, I'm presuming it's probably 20, 30 players.
Yes, we are at the moment. We are 28. Okay, in the squad. Obviously, there are some very young guy, also players that was born in 2007, and he has a very, very good perspective. And he also played made already 3 appearances in the league, and he's so young. Obviously, some of these young players are they join us and they train with us, but they're not playing in the team, but they are with us at the training ground. They train with us.
For Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and I'm going to go back to a lot of professionals here because it's an idealization of what we can base our talks on. So Jurgen Klopp, when they built the training centre, AXA training facility from Melwood to AXA, at Melwood in the old training ground, there was pitches segregated. So you had the professional pitch, the academy pitches, the women's pitches, all separate. But in the AXA training facility, you've now got all of them together. So to see a clearer pathway to becoming a professional footballer, where you are in Serie D or Serie C or Serie B or Serie A or anywhere in Italy, is there a clear pathway that you can rely on to get to that professional status?
It depends. Like, for example, Bologna has like a small village where there are all the training grounds, and the men's first team, the women's first team, and all the teams from the academy, they train there, they play there, and they are all together, like in the same structure. I don't know how to say it. Like, it's like a small village,
Yeah.
Juventus too, for example. I think Fiorentina has made it recently. Obviously, in Serie D, is not like that. We have a training ground. We have everything, like to train to a good level, but obviously on that point of view we are a little bit behind England. It's like, as I've been there, I know that there are big differences between Italy and England on this point of view, unfortunately. And that's the reason why I tell you this, and I'm quite sure about this. Like, when I came to England as a player, I think that there wasn't big difference, between the level. Also, I'm not speaking about only just the Serie A and the Premier League, okay, but also in the other leagues. Up to now, I have to say that for me there are two leagues of difference from the level. Like, if Serie D players want to join, for me, want to join an English club, if he's really really good, he can play in the National League. Okay, really really good players. If not, if an average Serie D player could play in National League North or South. There are, for me, like two leagues of difference. Like, in England, the fourth tier is the League Two, and in Italy the fourth tier is the Serie D. But there are big differences. But it's also the budget of the teams, and also because most of the teams in England, they own their own stadiums, and they're not from the stadiums that are from the city. In Italy is different on that.
For football clubs, we often see in England that there is an investment into a team, into the facilities, into the stadium, because it's demanded so much by the fans. In Italy, is that a regular occurrence, or is the money hard to come?
Yes. Jamie, you make me a difficult question. It always depends, but on where you are. But yes, if you want to tell me you average, yes, it's hard. It's hard in Italy because it's so difficult that you find like a private that come and buy a team and invest. It's always like, at the level I'm coaching, like Serie D. usually teams are owned by a lot of people, and or they everyone put some money inside the project, or they find sponsorship to go on. And that's the bad thing, because it's harder to find money from other people. It's easier, obviously, if someone comes and invests his own money to build the situation.
We spoke about women's football a minute ago, and we spoke about them training together with the men's and the youth teams. In Italy, what's the investment like for women? Is there a clear opportunity for
Yeah,
them to play?
it's the movement is growing up fast. Like, I think that 3 years ago, no one cared about women's football in Italy, and now everyone is talking about that. So the Serie A also in women is growing up fast. The level is now is high. It's not on the same of the women's Premier League, or like in France, or for example, in the United States, that I know that the women's football is so high the level, but we are growing up. And I have a big friend of mine that is a strength and conditioning coach that worked with me in Progresso, the first year of Serie D I made. Last year he worked for Sassuolo in the first team for the women, and I was speaking with him a few months ago, and he told me it was a fantastic experience to work with women.
Because for me, it's like a different board game. We have the men's side. I can name you 100 players if I wanted to. I could sit here and name even more than 100. But with the women's game, it's a completely different side of the story, and especially from an English perspective, when we won the Euros a few years ago, that's what really opened everyone's eyes to see that these players aren't now semi-professional; they're full time. They're working as hard as the men are. But now they have the opportunity to play at Wembley, to play at the home of football, to get the opportunity to air to the nation.
Yeah, it's good. I think that also for everyone is good, for everyone who works in football, because it's more job for everyone. Obviously, it's a good thing. That then, if you ask me, I don't love it in personally. Like, I prefer to work with the man, but yes, I don't have. I'm happy that the movement in Italy about women's football is growing up so fast.
Well, something else that's growing up extremely fast is the European Championships being held in Germany. And we all know what Italy did last time in the championship. They won it, of course, against England at Wembley Stadium in a bit of a hectic
I'm
final.
sorry, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Absolutely no problem. You just didn't break my heart, did you? And what happened in that Euros was something spectacular, because I remember the coach. What he did for your team was amazing. He brought all the players there. And I spoke to someone earlier and I said that just because you get brought to the tournament doesn't mean you get to be able to play. However, the Italian coach, his name's gone out of my head for a moment, but however, the Italian coach gave everyone in the team the opportunity to play at the European Championships. I remember he brought on your substitute goalie in like the 86th minute to give them a chance.
Yeah, Jamie, I agree with you. Then we have to be. I have to tell the truth. In my opinion, we don't have big names in this moment in our national team. So sometimes, like, I think that all the players in the squad list could play, because it's not like there's Totti and Del Piero. So okay, they must play because there's no one better than them. Okay, so basically now the level of the players in Italy is quite the same. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I think Mancini let play everyone in the tournament.
I completely agree, and it's the same with Germany as well. Like the players that they're bringing through at this level. I mean, Germany's a bit better, but Italy, there's not really too much of a difference. You're seeing players that are probably at best top four Premier League players. They're not Champions League winners. They're not Premier League contenders. They're just outside the top four. However, looking forward to Germany, what do you see from Italy? Do you see them coming home with the trophy?
When in the next Euro,
This year?
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think we are good enough to to try to win. Obviously, we are always Italy. We are always um, a tough team to meet because of our history, because of our mentality. But I think there are at least 4 or 5 countries that are better than us at the moment.
Is England one of those countries?
Yeah, definitely,
Who
definitely.
who do you see winning it then?
I hope England. I hope England.
I'm going to be
No,
honest with you, Gareth
no.
Southgate.
I always have arguments with France because I always when Italy is not playing, I always support England because I have a big
A legend of the
love.
game at
Yeah,
Dagenham.
I'm a big football English football lover, but yes, I hope that could be the year the right year for England to win again.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully, England can really and truly bring it home. And I really thank you, Carlo, for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it was a pleasure to me, and I thank you, and I hope to meet you soon when I will come in England, maybe as a coach. We never know,
You never know.
and thank you very much for inviting me.
No problem, Carlo. I wish you all the best in the season. And of course, we should be keeping in contact. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you very much. Ciao.
Ciao.